9 p.m. at the studios of Reflets Africa Television. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on the evening edition of the news. First are headlines. Governors from all the 10 regions of the country met today in Yaoundé for their end-of-year conference. On this edition, we bring to you the Bar Council demanding sanctions against uniformed men who assaulted lawyers in court. Thousands march in Democratic Republic of Congo against the FCC. Nigerian Army denies claims of firing live ammunition on NSAS protesters, and Eritrea caught up in Ethiopia's TV conflict. Good evening once more and welcome to the details of these stories and more. We begin in the central region of the country, where governors across the 10 regions of the country met today in Yaoundé for their final conference of the year, which was presided over by the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji. In addition to the regional governors, the session also harbored the Minister of Decentralization and the Delegate for National Security and other big wings, with a focus on how to tighten security measures during the end-of-year festivities. Details with Sandrine Doumbé.
The two-day event, which holds at the Yaoundé City Council, will enable the governors to discuss a wide range of issues, among them securing their regions before, during and after the December 6 regional elections. It is to be noted that a total of 900 regional councillors will be elected nationwide, corresponding to 90 per region. The Presidential Decree of September 2, 2020 spells out the distribution of the seats of regional council in the 58 different divisions of Cameroon. In line with the decree, each region will elect 70 divisional councillors, and traditional rulers will vote 20 traditional chiefs who represent the socio-cultural architecture of each of the divisions in the region. The meeting also pays special attention to the northwest and southwest regions, where the scenes of violence have been recorded in the past weeks, notably the killing of 7 children at the school in Kumba, attacks at several other schools, and the kidnapping of the Fononso and Christian Cardinal Tsumi.
Classes have effectively kicked off in the Lebialem division in the southwest region of the country after 4 years of no schools due to the socio-political crisis in the region. Community schools have emerged from all corners of the locality for both the primary and secondary section, with local teachers volunteering to teach these students. The Bechati village in the Wabane subdivision in Lebialem division have embraced education again in its 2 nursery schools, 2 primary schools, and of course 2 secondary schools, since it last opened its doors for lectures on November 2016. These areas are the most affected with the ravaging crisis, as separatist fighters took most control of the area and stood against school resumption. The Cameroon Bar Council has called for sanctions against the military personnel who fired live ammunition and tear gas lawyers in the court of first instance in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. The body condemned the attack on its members, stating that they have rights while practicing their duties as lawyers. Details and more will be brought to you by Sandrine Doumbé.
During an extraordinary session of the Bar Council that held on Friday, November 13, 2020, the interim president of the Bar Council, Atangana Bikuna Claire, condemned the violence and disorder observed between lawyers and forces of law and order in a courtroom in Bonanjo on November 3, 2020. The incident, which was performed by lawyers standing against the detention of their colleagues, Barrister Augustine Wanto and Annie-Christelle Messouk, since October 5, 2020, at the New Bell Detention Center for claims of contempt of court and corruption. During last Friday's meeting, the Bar Council called an investigation to be opened to determine the cause of the fracas and bring the authors to book. To these allegations, the Bar Council said it will immediately open ethical investigations against them in strict respect of the laws governing the profession, while respecting their rights and getting their own version of the story. The Bar Council equally tasked the interim president to strictly observe the pending case at the Douala Court of First Instance and produce a report which will be examined during the next sitting on December 1. At least 5 lawyers suffered from injuries when the security forces, who are believed to have acted on orders of the court, fired live bullets in the court while tear gassing the room in an effort to disperse the population.
Over the weekend, the streets of Kinshasa in the Democratic Republic of Congo harbored thousands of protesters who marched on Saturday to support consultations launched by the head of state Felix Tshisekedi for the Presidential Union for Democracy and the Social Progress political party. The aim of the consultation, which were launched since November 2nd, was to create a union of the nation in the midst of a crisis with the camp of his predecessor, Joseph Kabila. According to one of the protesters we apprehended as André Alain Atundu, it is a plot to neutralize our moral authority. Joseph Kabila put him out of the game, with him the FCC. The Kabila camp claims to see through these consultations and the march and believe it an attempt to rebuild the unity of the ex-opposition from which President Tshisekedi came. Even though protests halted yesterday, intentions of reinitiating a new protest were scheduled for today, November 16, 2020. The Nigerian Army has rejected claims it killed unarmed protesters at the NSAS protest in Lagos last month, while stating that the soldiers were firing empty bullets. According to Brigadier General Ahmed Taiwo, a video evidence backed up his claims as he presented a copy to the team of inquiry. Details on this report. On October 8, 2020, report of thousands of Nigerians protesting against an anti-robbery unit of the police called SAS made waves all over the continent. Videos of police brutality and protesters destroying property in Nigeria's largest city, Lagos, was a call for concern as countries and foreign bodies pressed for prosecution of those responsible in the incident that resulted in multiple fatalities and injuries. Hundreds of people in South Africa also took to the streets to voice outrage at the shooting of peaceful demonstrators in Nigeria. During the viral protests, Amnesty International reported that 12 people were killed, but the police chief has denied claims of firing live bullets at the protesters. In video footages shared on social media, shots could be heard as protesters sat down, locked arms and sang the national anthem together. During this period, over 1,000 protesters had gathered at the Lekki toll gate on October 20th to prevent cars from using a major motorway. Soldiers were seen placing barricades on the protest site, where gunshots were heard shortly after. While investigations are being carried out by the International Criminal Court in Nigeria, the police general told the judicial panel investigating the alleged historic abuses by the Special Anti-Robbery Squad that there has been a lot of misinformation about his troops, stating that their only crime was to report for duty to protect us all. Eritrea has been caught up in the latest episode of the fighting in neighboring Ethiopia's Tigray region after rockets landed in the outskirts of the capital Asmara on Saturday, November 14, 2020. People living in Asmara say a series of explosions were heard in the approaches to the city, including near its main airport, as the fighting between Ethiopia federal troops and Tigray fighters intensified over the weekend. There was no report of casualties from the rocket explosion inside Eritrea, which is accused by the Tigray regional authorities of aiding Addis Ababa by providing it with men and land access to launch attacks on fighters of the Tigray People Liberation Front, that's the TPLF. Tigrayan leader Debretsion Gebremichael claimed that Eritrean soldiers have been engaging TPLF troops in recent days of fighting. Reports also say medical facilities inside Eritrea have been treating Ethiopian federal troops wounded during the fighting. However, Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, in a tweet on November 15th, that yesterday, denied any Eritrean troop involvement in the conflict and says federal forces were capable of defeating the TPLF renegades. It is no secret that following the end to all active and passive hostilities between Addis Ababa and Asmara, Prime Minister Abiy has had a reliable ally in Eritrean leader Afwerki. The Eritrean has noted to have fought in 1998 to 2000 war. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks once again for joining us. This is the package we gathered for you. Stay tuned and see you tomorrow for another edition of the English Newscast.